Buongiorno. Today we are going to talk about the big bad beast of the Passato Remoto in Italian. This thing is like eating your vegetables if you're learning Italian. You know it's good for you, but you just can't be bothered to do it. I'm going to talk to you about some basic stuff regarding this. If you've never heard of it, this video might go over your head slightly, but I'd still say maybe watch the first 2 or 3 minutes because the third or fourth time that you come across this, hopefully will make a bit more sense. And it is something that if you're serious about Italian, you are going to need. Okay, let's start out with some common errors. This is really the biggest one. It's confusing the passato remoto with the passato prossimo. Okay, if these words are gobbledygook to you, just search both of these terms on YouTube, passato remoto and passato prossimo, and you will have a much better idea of what it is we're talking about. The passato remoto is a tense that we use in Italian when we're talking about very old things or things that happened a very long time ago. Okay, so you may have seen this form before if you've been using the past tense in Italian for any length of time. If I said Gianni è stato alla festa ieri, Gianni was at the party yesterday. So why do we have this fu version? What is fu? So these two things, è stato and fu, both mean the exact same thing. They mean was or were. But when I say Gianni fu alla festa, it means he was there like a very long time ago, like 10 years ago, 5 years ago. He was present at that event, but a long time ago. Now, your next thing that you're going to say to me is, okay, well, I don't talk about anything that happened 10 years ago. However, I've got you. I thought about this one already. This is not just old Italian, okay? Many people in the south of Italy, or even just in common YouTube, when I say usage, even when I say south of Italy, what I really mean is people from south of Italy, which really means people all over Italy, because obviously Italy is full of people from all over the country. This is not just limited to old Italian, yeah? So passato remoto is something that we're going to use often. If you avoid this as well, you may be very confused when reading literally anything in Italian. Again, like I will say, if you are someone who only wants to go to one specific part of Italy and you just want to have a chat with the barista or have a chat with the waiter, then you'll be okay, probably 80% of the time. But if you're ever going to read a book in Italian or live there or really just speak to more Italians in general, then yeah, it's just something you simply need to know. It's another thing on the checklist to do. Okay, there are a lot of irregular forms. I mean, you maybe look at these words, fu, furono, fu, ebbero, what the hell is this? If you've spent any time learning the passato prossimo, you will know there are very, very, very many irregularities. Like, for example, let's take a verb like prendere. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Prendere, the past tense is not prenduto, it's preso, or at least what we use in modern parlance is preso. Passato remoto is like that, but times 100. There, you're going to have to basically learn it for every verb individually. So, hooray! Yeah, bad news for you. Not for me, because I already went through this pain once, but yeah, bad news for you. But slightly less bad news, as I'll help you make it a bit easier. We use passato remoto for historical events and formal writing much more than English speakers expect. I want to say this to you, even children's books are going to be using this. Children's books are already using the subjunctive and conditional and passato remoto, all this hell, and you're just trying to say, can I have a croissant, please? But if you're past that stage and you're really getting into some serious Italian, then you'll need to know this. Let's talk about some inspiration. Okay, before we go through this desert of difficulty, let's talk about some inspiration. We have la storia non si ripete, ma a volte fa rima. Okay, so what I'm going to teach you in this video is a boring grammar lesson, but really I want you to think about like what you're actually going to do with the stuff that I teach you. Have you got an Italian friend? Are you going to go to Sicily? Are you going to finally build up the courage to have that glass of wine or 2 or 3 and then open that Italian book that you just haven't started because you think it's too hard? Really just connect this grammar stuff that I'm going to teach you to what you're actually going to be doing with your Italian. I have a friend, for example, Grazia, who is she is from a region of Italy where this is used very often, and being able to just understand her a bit better. If you have someone like that in your life, being able to maybe communicate with that person in a way that is more authentic to them rather than just what Duolingo or ChatGPT or me or whoever has taught you, is going to be good. Okay, with that said, let's dive into the quagmire of example vocab. Okay, here you go. So these verbs, okay, they are different forms. Okay, so just to recap, we have our normal verbs. Okay, let's take a normal verb like essere. Yeah, this means to be. Okay, I want you to connect this whole puzzle of what we're doing together. So essere is to be, and this is called the infinitive. Okay, as I said, this is the kind of root where all the different forms of essere are going to come from. Infinitive. Okay, if we said something like, sono, sei, siamo, etc. This is going to be, okay, say it with me, the present tense. Specifically, it's going to be the presente indicativo, okay? You don't need to know all these tenses off by heart, but I want to give you an example. Then, if we want to say the past tense, we say sono stato, sei stato, è stato, and obviously all of these should have the here as well. Again, if this is going over your head, then I would suggest to watch a YouTube video about the passato prossimo before you watch this one. Okay, and this, just to recap, is the passato prossimo. Okay, now we're going to have a look at the passato remoto. So, fu and furono are the ones that you are going to see most often. Okay, so if I said to you, I think, let's say the example I said at the beginning, Gianni è stato, sorry, I will make this text bigger in a second. È stato alla festa. Gianni fu alla festa. Something like this. Yeah, so basically, fu is the old version of è, and furono is the old version of sono. Loro sono. Let me make that very clear. Loro sono. Okay, so if I said to you, like, Gianni e Marco sono, pardon me, this should be è stato, very, very specifically. This should be è stato. So if I said Gianni è stato alla festa, Gianni was at the party. See, I even said festival. I tried to translate lazily at the party. If I said Gianni fu alla festa, he was at the party. 10 years ago, Gianni e Luca furono alla festa. Gianni and Luca were at the party together. So if I said Gianni e Luca furono alla festa, okay? More than anything, okay, I'm less interested in you. I don't know if any of you, have learnt to code, for example, but I'm less interested in you being able to go and write this yourself immediately after this lesson, and I'm more interested in you being able to read this when you encounter it, or even just at least, maybe not even read, but just recognize that the information that you're interacting with is being presented to you in the passato remoto, okay? Now, let's have a look at this next one. So that is fu and furono. Next we have ebbe and ebbero, which is from avere. So ha avuto, okay, is the young version, but the less old version of ebbe, and hanno avuto is the less old version of ebbero. Okay, loro ebbero. So if I said, okay, let's do an extremely lazy example. Gianni ha avuto una festa. Yeah, we could say it with me. Gianni ebbe una festa. Okay, so they mean the same thing. Okay, it's not like the actual meaning of these words is not that complicated. They mean the exact same thing. Ha avuto. Gianni had. Pardon me. Gianni. Oh no, never mind. Sorry, let me just add that back in. Gianni ebbe una festa. Pardon me, sorry about that mistake. So, the meaning of it is not that complicated, yeah? Gianni ha avuto una festa. Gianni had a party. I think for anybody who's been learning Italian for more than a couple of months, you know how to make these past tense sentences. Gianni had a party. Gianni ebbe una festa. These two things mean the same thing, except one is just longer, distant in time to the present day. So Gianni ha avuto una festa, we would say, last week, last month, recently. Gianni ebbe una festa, and this usually we would say this like he had one last party before he left the Netherlands for good and decided to move to Ireland. Whatever it is, yeah. The difficulty is just going to be in learning all of the different forms of these verbs rather than in the actual meaning. Okay. But, so I know this bit is painful, but just remember this. Remember talking to your friends. That is what you need to keep in mind. Okay, fece and fecero. Okay, again, so these are the past tense versions of these things. So hanno fatto or ha fatto becomes fece and fecero. Yeah. Okay, hopefully you guys are starting to get the pattern here. Fecero. And disse, dissero, again. So ha detto, hanno detto. Hanno detto. Yeah? Okay? So hopefully this is starting to become a little bit more predictable. Yeah, don't say obvious, but predictable. So ha detto goes to disse. Okay, for example, one of my favorite books is it's called Indovino mi disse. This is a really, really funny book by this guy called Tiziano Tiziani. A fortune teller told me. Okay, so we can see mi disse. So this is the same as un indovino mi ha detto. A fortune teller told me. So ha detto, I think you will understand, means told me, past tense of dire. So disse, again, it's that slightly more literary version. It's the slightly more old version. This is an extremely funny book, by the way. This guy, he was a journalist basically, and I think it was in 1970, I want to say 1974, I could be getting that wrong. A fortune teller told him to not take an airplane because it would crash or whatever. So for the whole year, the whole 12 months, January to December, he traveled. Obviously, he's a journalist. He travels a lot for work. In fact, you can see him here on the train. And yeah, he basically has to travel the whole world by train and boats and whatever, and it's about his travels on this way. A very, very, very funny story. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. But hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Here, I've just given you the full table. So here we can say fu and fecero. Where are they? Fu, even I'm getting tongue-tied. Fu and furono. Here we can say here's fu, here's furono. This is just the table, the conjugations for essere specifically. Io fui, tu fosti, lui fu, noi fummo, voi foste, loro furono. Okay? All right. Take 20 seconds. I want to show you something. If you Google, if you go to coniugazione.it, I don't know why you get this warning. In fact, okay, let's not do that. Instead, if you say, please give me the conjugation table. This is, you go to your favorite AI of choice. This website used to be a really good place to get conjugation tables. I don't know why they say it's unsafe. Obviously, don't go there if your browser tells you it's unsafe. I used to use that website a lot. But it doesn't matter. We have AI now. If you say, please give me the conjugation table for dire in the Passato Remoto and Passato Prossimo. Okay, if we just let this run for a second. This is going to be a really useful way to get these tables more often. Now, obviously, I don't want you to just memorize tables and tables and tables, but if you need to look up a certain verb, or maybe you've seen a verb, maybe you see a book title like that in the shop, and you think, what does disse mean? What does that come from? Yeah, you can come here, and it will tell you exactly what you need to see. So, io dissi, tu dicesti, lui disse, blah, blah, blah. And you can see the equivalents for the passato prossimo. Yeah? Okay. Cool. Now, you're going to have to listen to my sales pitch for a minute. I've made a little Italian practice tool, that you can use to practice your different tenses, okay? There is no passato remoto, okay? Please don't lynch me for that. But essentially, I got frustrated that there wasn't a specific way to just go and practice a particular tense. I'm not able to assign my students homework just going to practice 100 irregular past tense questions, okay? And I can't do that on my crappy little quiz here either yet, but hopefully by the time you watch this video, some improvements will have been made. So you currently have present, future, and past, and you can basically go through and you can add in your answers. È partito, noi abbiamo aperto, you know, all of this kind of thing. And obviously if you submit the quiz, it will tell you the right and wrong answers. I'd really love to get some feedback on this from, you know, real Italian learners. If you're watching this video and you're learning Italian, you know, please go give this a go. If you can, you know, leave a piece of feedback for me in the comments that can make this better, then that would be fantastic. And the other thing from me is also the newsletter. I have a newsletter basically that, like every other YouTuber out there, basically just once a week, you know, on the weekend, I'll send you a short email that basically has, you know, a couple of tips on learning Italian, a video or two that I've seen that I think might be helpful that I've made. Yeah, so if you just want a bit of extra practice and tips, then do sign up for that. And both of those are going to be in the description of this video. All right, we're 15 minutes in. I'd say have a glass of water, go for a wee, go get a glass of fresh air, go get some fresh air for 20 seconds. And we're going to go through some example sentences and conversation as well, just to kind of solidify all of this stuff that we've been talking about. So, example sentences. Luckily, there are only 5. Dante nacque a Firenze nel. Oh, numbers. Okay, so it's a tricky one. See if you can guess this number before I say it. 1265. Okay, so nacque comes from the verb nascere, which is to be born, and usually would say Dante è nato. Yeah, Dante è nato, Dante was born. But again, because he was born such a long time ago in the past, Dante nacque. We don't say Dante è nato. Okay, if you say Dante è nato, if you're a tourist, you know, no one is going to look at you funny. But Dante nacque is the proper thingy. La seconda guerra mondiale finì nel 1945. So again, instead of saying guerra ha finito, yeah, instead of saying it's finished in, we say finì because it's in the past. Colombo arrivò in America nel 1492. So he arrived in America instead of è arrivato, arrivò. I Romani costruirono molte strade. Yes, instead of arrivato. Instead of hanno costruito, we say costruirono. And again, if all of these verb endings looking very strange, just ask ChatGPT to give you the details. Leonardo da Vinci dipinse. So he painted. So again, instead of hanno costruito, yeah, and instead of dipinto, we say dipinse. Yeah. Cool. Finally, example conversation. We're nearly there. Professoressa, pretend this is me. Chissà quando fu fondata Roma. Roma fu fondata nel 753 avanti Cristo. Yeah, so AC. So 753 AC. So when was Rome founded? Again, this happened such a long time ago, we need to use a historical tense in Italian. We say fu. Esatto. Chi furono I primi abitanti? Furono I Romani? Ah, no. So exactly. And who was there? Oh, pardon me. Who were the first inhabitants? They were the Romans. Were they the Romans? Yes. But before the Romans, we had gli Etruschi. So these are the people who were there before the Romans. Ebbero una grande influenza. So they had, yeah. Costruirono molte città. They built many cities. Yes. Fecero anche oggetti d'arte. So they made. Okay, there's a lot of this kind of stuff, you know. And for example, okay, where my family are from, near Rome, I mean, this is like Etruscan capital. Every like walk in the woods you go to, there's an Etruscan cave, an Etruscan burial site, an Etruscan. You can even find sometimes some like shards of bricks in the ground that they, you know, actual old Etruscan bricks and things like this that were made. So you know, coming back to the motivation section at the beginning, it's about relating what you're learning to Italy, you know. Okay, well done. I'm going to leave you a video here to watch after this one that I think will hopefully relax your brain a little bit. But if you need to go and, you know, scream into a pillow for 20 minutes, I understand. Go and do that. And then when you're ready, come back and learn some more Italian. Well done.